I'm getting over whatever my entire cast had. So, all right. So, imagine a room filled with people. Fuller than this one probably because there aren't very many of us in this class anymore. Now, imagine that all these people are competing for one thing. Now, say this one thing is a job or a coveted position, and the winner walks away with everything, the rest, nothing. This, or a less important job. This is what casting in theater is like, and casting agents sit on, and the only thing between you and your goal is a panel of judges and your nerves. And casting agents make important decisions on how you are to be cast in a theatrical performance. So today I will be discussing with you how casting agents make decisions based on physical appearance, appearance in general, experience and ability, and connections with the right people. There we go. Okay, so the first type of way that they make decisions is by physical appearance. So sometimes there's this thing called typecasting, and they'll base a person in a certain role depending on how they look, or sometimes you'll get cast in the same role over and over again because you look the same. For example, Michael Mueller, a teacher actually here at Fullerton College, told us a story last semester about how when he had a beard, he would always get cast in the rugged kind of lumberjack roles because that's what he looked like. Also, one of the most well-known shows, Phantom of the Opera. There we go. Phantom of the Opera. I have a source from CBS News that shows the Phantom, the ladies who have played Christine over the years, and they all look very similar. So I'll just scroll through a couple of these. Obviously, I won't go through all of them because there's 32, but they all look very similar. Those are all different people. So, your physical appearance matters in when you role, but also how you dress for a casting job matters too. It's just like any job interview. It doesn't, dress to impress. As the Guardian's article, Dress to Impress, says there's no room for experimentation in your interview wardrobe. It's the same in casting. Casting agents will make big decisions about that. Also, they also judge on ability and experience. In acting, there's things called credits, which is the shows you've done. And so to auditions, you'll bring a resume and a headshot, which is, I'll show you what a resume looks like. You can see. So this is generally what it looks like. It has information on the top and then a list of credits. So this is generally what they would see, and then what judge you on, see who you've done stuff with, what companies you've been involved in, what roles you've been in, and so they judge you on ability. Because if you're going for a big role and if you've never been in anything else, they're more wary of that. Also, so another thing is headshot, so that's mine. There we Okay. Also, education can matter in acting, although it does not matter as much as, say, your traditional job interview. According to Backstage, it is a debated topic, but many casting agents do agree that it is important. Also, finally, connection, like your physical appearance and your ability, connections to people in the company also matter. For example, this is a personal story, but my director for Sherlock Holmes was casting Sherlock Holmes, and instead of holding open auditions, which is where everyone comes to the audition, he asked certain people to play certain roles. Another example is there's this lady named Diane Lord who is a singer and a professional actress, and she was cast in the role of Annie as a small child because her father owned the theater. Also, this is a movie director, but it applies to theater too. Tim Burton. People always work with this. They kind of work with the same people, and oftentimes in casting, Tim Burton always works with the same people. That's not always true, but it is generally the case. So, just like any job interview, the way that you present yourself in casting and your ability and experience and your connections to other people matter in the casting environment. Thank you.
Let's see. Johnny, what did you think?
I liked how you could tell that you knew a lot about this subject, and it was very smooth. Your transitions were smooth. You could tell that you had a lot to say about it. So I thought that was good. You really knew what you were talking about. I think that you could have had better eye contact. You're looking at your note cards a lot, and just in one specific room, I think you could have done a better job of looking more around the room. And I think you said too much, but I'm saying right now a lot too, so I think that's just everyone's been working on it. So.
I like the visualization that you had at the beginning. Of the little joke about the number of people in class was also kind of amusing, and it adapts it to the audience that you're talking to. The subject is clearly identified. You specify what your purpose statement is, and there's a good preview of what the supporting structure is going to be. So the introduction, I thought, went pretty well. The development of the material is solid. I think you could do a little bit more to make it more interesting. But you had some supporting material that you quoted. You had a few explanations. There are a couple of stories that you tell that you need to add some detail to and make them sound more polished because they sound incomplete sometimes. Sounds a little bit like there's cattiness behind it instead of an explanation about what's going on, and I'm not sure that that gets you very far. Organizationally, it's a topical method of organization that you set up at the beginning of the speech, so that's pretty clear. But I'm going to disagree with Johnny immensely on this point. I thought the transitions were really the big problem in the speech. You start talking and you moved to the next subject without even finishing the previous subject. It just felt like all the information started to run together. You need to make it much more distinctive, and you need to create some language that makes it flow a little bit more smoothly. I just felt like I was being dropped in piece by piece on the information instead of that information fitting into particular categories, which is strange because you started off so well at the beginning, and I thought when you started talking about the different types of casting that we were going to get a little bit more explanation of those things, and the next thing I know you were talking about something completely different. I'm looking at your resume, and then the visual images, I think you need to sharpen up the resume a little bit, give us a chance to see it in a bigger context. The headshot went by so fast, I'm sure that half of the audience didn't even see that the picture was there because it was up there for only a fraction of a second, so why even bother? I think the idea of, I like the idea that you had of illustrating the typecasting with Christine and all the pictures that you had. Because you're using a website that's already up and has the pictures, you're depending on how fast it can move. It probably would have been a good plan to just cut and paste those pictures into slides so that you controlled them and you didn't have to rely on the internet to respond as quickly, because sometimes that's a little bit of delay that makes things feel momentarily awkward. Let's see. Delivery, I think, is a problem. In the introduction, you have a tendency to look down, and then later on, you're looking just at your notes or up at the screen, and you need to engage the audience a little bit more. That's where we're going to stop it then. Thank you.